The second motivational gift in the book of Romans is the server gift. The server is naturally fast. They are good with their hands. They're good at making things, building things, fixing things. They can usually do things like knit, crochet, draw. They're good at cooking, sewing, baking. They're usually good at crafts and manual projects. If they buy a table, they can put it together themselves. They always keep everything in order, neat and tidy. They dust every day. There's never any dirty dishes in their sink. Their laundry is always folded and put away. They are the ones that volunteer to do things. If there's a meeting, they're the ones that volunteer to set the chairs out, and then afterwards they stay and take them back up. They always stay until everything is done. They love doing things. And they're the ones that notice if there's something that needs to be done. They're the ones that are quick to do it. For example, if you're at a party or a meeting and someone spills something, they're the first ones to get up and clean it up. They show love for others in their deeds and actions more than their words. They do more than is asked of them. They feel greatest joy when doing things for others. They do not like to lead projects, but they like to do projects. They are the leaders, not the followers. Somebody else needs to be the leader, but they have great support for the leadership. They can't stand to be around clutter. They are a perfectionist. Serving to them is the primary importance in life. If they have kids in school, they are the first to volunteer for the committees. They prefer a vocational school instead of a college. So now I am going to read out of the book what the book says the characteristics of the server is. Easily recognizes practical needs and is quick to meet them. That's what I was talking about when I said if a server's at a meeting and someone spills something, they're the first one to get up and clean it up. And they're the ones that volunteers to set up tables and chairs and to do the cleanup afterwards. Just whatever needs to be done, they're the ones volunteering. Especially enjoys manual projects, jobs, and functions. So yes, they're very good manually with anything artistic or fixing things or carpentry or plumbing, electrical work, gardening, cooking, sewing. And in the book, there is an example of a Dear Abby that they printed. And I'm going to read it to you. It says, Dear Abby, our middle son, Greg, is a problem. He is very intelligent. He's 19, who went to college for 1 year, and then he quit. Why waste your money and my time, he asked. His grades were above average, and he could have continued. His reason for quitting, he likes to work with his hands. He is now going to a trade school, and we are so disappointed in him. I'm not putting down people who work with their hands, But it seems to me that a man works with his hands only because he isn't smart enough to work with his mind. Greg's father and grandfather are physicians, and both Greg's brothers are lawyers. Please put something in your column stating that a college degree is absolutely necessary these days. After Greg graduates from college, he can do anything he chooses, but we want him to finish college first. Thank you, Greg's mother. And Abby wrote back, Dear Mother, college is not for everyone. If Greg likes to work with his hands, that's what he should do. It's not true that those who work with their hands aren't smart enough to work with their minds. Handiwork done well requires much skill, talent, and brains as a profession. So there's an example in real life, and the mother and dear Abby probably didn't even know anything about these gifts, but dear Abby knew that it is okay and good to work with your hands. Like she said, it takes much skill, talent, and brains to work with your hands. So yes, people with the serving gift usually prefers a vocational school rather than college. So now let me keep on with what the book says about the characteristics of the server. Keeps everything in meticulous order. Is a detailed person with a good memory. Enjoys showing hospitality. Will stay with something until it is completed. Has a hard time saying no to requests for help. Is more interested in meeting the needs of others than own needs. Enjoys working on immediate goals rather than long range goals. Shows love for others in deeds and actions more than words. Needs to feel appreciated. Tends to do more than asked to do. Feels greatest joy in doing something that is helpful. Does not want to lead others on projects. Now, the servers are the followers. They are not the leaders. God made them that way. But they do support the leadership. Has a high energy level. Servers have one speed, fast forward. They are naturally fast. Cannot stand to be around clutter. Tends to be a perfectionist. Views serving to be of primary importance in life. Prefers doing a job to delegating it. Supports others who are in leadership. So yeah, the server just loves serving other people, and they love working with their hands. And if a pastor announces that a place is needed for a visiting missionary, it'll more than likely be the servers who offer their homes first. They love to entertain people. They do a terrific job of making their guests feel welcome. As with any of the gifts, there are potential problems with that particular gift. So I'm going to talk about the potential problems of the server. They are critical of others who do not help out with obvious needs. And there's an example in the Bible. The classic example is Martha, the sister of Mary and Lazarus, in Luke 10:38-42. We see Mary sitting at Jesus' feet listening to his teachings, Meanwhile, back in the kitchen, Martha is preparing food to serve their hungry guests. To her, Mary's obliviousness to a practical need is incomprehensible. But Martha, who is overoccupied and too busy, was distracted about serving, and she came up to him and said, Lord, is it nothing to you that my sister has left me to serve alone? Tell her to help me, lend a hand, and do her part along with me. That's Luke 10:40. To Martha, getting that meal ready is the most important thing in the world. Jesus loves the server gift in her, of course, but also identifies the server's problem and speaks kindly correction. It is always a temptation for servers to feel put upon by those who ignore obvious needs. May neglect own family's needs by being too busy helping others. And I've known about that in my real life where people do too much, and then a lot of times they'll realize it and they say, I've got to stop. I'm serving on too many committees, or I'm doing too much. I need to start paying more attention to my family. May become pushy or interfering in eagerness to help. Finds it hard to accept being served by others. Is easily hurt when unappreciated. So those are the problems that the book talks about. I have another problem that I've noticed. This particular problem is not in the book, but I'm going to talk about it anyway because I've noticed it. A lot of times I've noticed people who have the serving gifts don't understand people who do not have that gift. They'll say things like, she can't knit, she can't crochet, she can't cook, she can't sew, she can't do anything. When she bought that table, she had to find somebody else to put it back together, to put it together for her. She can't fix anything in her house that's broken. She can't do anything. Well, that's not true. Remember, there's 6 other gifts. She can do things that you can't do. Now I'm going to talk about examples of this gift in the Bible. In Matthew 8:14-15, it talks about Peter's mother-in-law. She had a fever. Jesus touched her and healed her, and she got up and prepared a meal for those that were there. I don't know if serving was her primary gift, but I do know that if Jesus had touched me and healed me, I would have definitely done the same, whether that was my primary gift or not. So I definitely don't blame her for doing that, because I definitely would have done the same. Now I'm going to talk about examples of this gift in real life. If we have kids, we act in the serving zone every day, or if we're taking care of elderly parents. And on most jobs, we serve in some way. I think there's probably more people with the serving gift than any other gift, because there's just so many practical things in this world that needs to get done, and so there needs to be a lot of people with this gift. And so yeah, we just serve every day, whether it's our gift or not. And I think there's probably a lot of people that thinks that's their gift, but it may not be, just because they serve all the time, because that's what needs to be done, especially if they have kids. Now I'm going to talk about Jesus with this gift. Jesus was a server. Like I mentioned before, Jesus is the only person who has all seven of the gifts. And as a server, he worked with his hands. He was a carpenter. He washed people's feet. He said, "Whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant." He had a high energy level. He kept pace with the demands of his ministry. Now I'll talk about serving in the body of Christ. The server is the hands. Now I'll talk about when the server does a Bible study. They prefer to use prepared materials instead of preparing them themselves. They do a detailed preparation of the lesson. They focus on practical subjects that demonstrate faith. When they do Sunday school, they prefer to assist the teacher or help with the nursery or handle the custodial work or the paperwork. The server, as a child, they had security in doing. They had joy in doing. They were practical, realistic, idealistic, and oriented towards doing. They were obedient. They were neat and tidy. They were helpful. They complete projects. They were a follower. They prefer small groups. They are meticulous. They prefer non competitive sports. They enjoy card games, table games, anything that requires manual skill, crafts, puzzles. They love pets. They are reliable. They are good at handiwork, homemaking skills, building and fixing. They find joy in serving and being appreciated in serving. They find joy in family activities. They have good dexterity. They're not college oriented. Now I'm going to talk about some careers and jobs that would be good for the server. The server is good at using their hands. They are talented in using their hands and they love serving other people. They love taking care of other people. So, the 12 jobs and careers that I chose for this list are: number one, a licensed practical nurse. I think that's self explanatory. They love taking care of people, and it takes their hands to be able to do that job. Number two, an office worker, whether it be a receptionist, an office assistant, a bank teller, a bookkeeper, an accountant. I just clump those together. Any type of office work that's serving other people. Number three, a child care worker. Number four, a waiter or waitress. Number five, a carpenter or a builder. Number six, a farmer. Number seven, an assembly line worker. Number eight, a professional housekeeper or a janitor or a custodian. Number nine is a truck driver. Number 10 is a cashier. Number 11 is a barber or a beautician. There again, that's definitely working with your hands. You got to be good at your hands to be a good barber or a beautician. Number 12 is a cook. There again, working with your hands. Now I'm going to talk about outside of our comfort zone. When we talk about people's motivational gifts, it is not to put the people in a box. we can't just say, oh, that's not my gift. I don't have to do that. No, a lot of times we have to act outside of our comfort zone. For example, if we have kids, which I've mentioned that before, if we have kids and serving is not our gift, we definitely are working outside of our comfort zone in certain areas of taking care of our kids. I mean, taking care of kids is complex. There's all the gifts that you've got to perform when taking care of kids. So that's just one part of it. But yeah, if you have kids, you're definitely performing all seven of the motivational gifts in Romans 12. But as far as cooking for them and doing their laundry and things like that, that's definitely the serving gift. And you have to do that whether you're a server or not. Or if you have elderly parents, you're definitely in the serving zone. And most jobs, or a lot of jobs, require a person to be in the serving zone. There are so many serving jobs out there. And a lot of times, serving might not necessarily be your gift, but you've got a serving job and you have to do it anyway. So there are so many times that we have to be outside of our comfort zone and we just have to do it. But God will give you the grace to be able to handle it. It'll be okay. So, next is the test. I will put the test in the description. I am not going to say the test out. You'll just have to look in the description. So if you do take the test, let me know down below what your score was. If you're not going to take the test, if you just know by your personality if you are a server or not, just let me know if you are a server, if that's your main primary gift, or if you're a partial server, or if you're not a server at all. So that is all for the server gift. I will see you next time in the next gift.